Despite an amazing comeback season, the Clippers desperately need adjustments. We'll sort them out on this edition of The Nest. Hello everybody and welcome back to The Nest RXP. My name is Robin, back with another edition of rebuilding all of these NBA teams in their off season. And today we're going to be tackling the LA Clippers. This is a team that I'm kind of interested to see what they do end up doing, because they don't really have a ton of options, and this is a team that can't really tank, but they also can't really fully compete because they don't have the personnel to do either, or the picks to do either. So I'm kind of interested to see the route they go down. So it's going to be very interesting to see if what we do versus what they do. But who knows? But before we get into it, please make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go check out the TikTok, go check out the Instagram, go check out all of that stuff, and go check out my previous videos. I've done at the time I've recorded this, I've already done the Pelicans and then the NBA as a whole. So go check those out, and make sure to go check out the future videos if you're coming to me from the far future. Now, the Clippers, like I said, they don't really have a competitive team, but they also don't really have the picks necessary to tank. So with my logic when I was rebuilding this team is to, one, get younger, but also stay in a bit of competitive nature so that they have the possibility to compete if they find themselves in a good position. So when I went through this, I kind of tried to create a mix of all of these things, and I'm very interested to see what y'all think, and I'm very interested to see if these trades are even possible, which financially they should be. The issue is, like, will teams be willing to accept these trades, and will they be willing to do these things? So let's get into it. First things first, the Clippers don't really have a first round pick this year. They only have picks as of now 36 and 53. I believe 36 is subject to change based off the lottery, so it may be like 38 or 39 or something like that once the actual lottery happens. But essentially 2 second round picks. That's not really going to get you anything. But that's not what we're going to start with. We're actually going to start with Kawhi Leonard, and there have been a ton of trade rumors with Kawhi over the latter end of the season and when the offseason actually started. So a lot of trades I'm seeing is basically just Kawhi going for Brandon Podziemski and Jimmy Butler and like 2 first round picks. Jimmy's mainly just salary cap because obviously he's out the ACL. And while I don't hate that trade, I don't like it really for the Warriors, and I'll get into that once I actually cover the Warriors, but I don't like this trade for the Warriors. But for the sake of the Clippers, we're going to try and make a trade similar to this. I don't really like it for the Clippers because Jimmy Butler's not really going to help you compete, especially when he's out the ACL injury. So instead, we rerouted Jimmy Butler and reconfigured this trade to include a third team, the Sacramento Kings. And the trade is broken down like this. So the Warriors will acquire Kawhi Leonard and Malik Monk. The Kings will acquire Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, and a 2029 or 2027 first-round pick via the Warriors, whichever they prefer. And then the Clippers will acquire the other pick, whether it's 2029 or 2027, via the Warriors, and a 2028 pick swap. So why this trade? Why do I think each team would do this trade? Obviously, the Warriors would want Kawhi Leonard. They want Kawhi Leonard. They get Malik Monk as well, who kind of replaces Brandon Podziemski's role. He provides a little more veteran talent with his team and helps them win a little bit more. The Kings get a young guy in Brandon Podziemski. They get a first-round pick out of it. They get off of Domantas Sabonis' contract, and they take in an expiring Jimmy Butler's contract, which I don't think many people realize. Jimmy Butler's contract is expiring, so that's almost $60 million to go into cap space next year, so that's huge for them. Now, the Clippers, they get a pick swap and then a first-round pick, which they desperately need, but they also get Domantas Sabonis, which helps them win now. So I think this is the ultimate win trade for the Clippers, and that will help them, along with these other trades that I'm going to be discussing. That'll help them in the future and help them win this season. So next up, with the 2 second round picks they got, which is like 36 and 58 or something like that, or 36 and 53, 36 and 53, they trade those 2 plus Isaiah Jackson for Cam Johnson on the Nuggets. Now, what this does is, for the Nuggets, it gets off Cam Johnson's contract, which they've talked about because they want to resign Peyton Watson, and it gives them 2 second-round picks that they can use for other assets. For the Clippers, it gives them a young, well, not young because he's like 29 or something like that. He's on the older side, but it's a veteran, relatively younger wing or forward that can help them compete a little bit and help them coast until they can get back to fully rebuilding or fully competing. And then other than that, you just re-sign Benedict Mathurin, give him a nice deal. You don't need to give him the max or anything like that, but give him a good deal. I would, if I'm the Clippers, I would try and sign and trade for Jonathan Kuminga off the Atlanta Hawks, because they've been talking about, like, okay, do we keep Kuminga? Do we not keep Kuminga? We traded for him, but you could probably get some value out of him if you're the Hawks. So sign and trade him, give Kuminga a decently good deal, give him a little bit of the keys to your future, just a bit, and it probably wouldn't be too expensive to get him. The most you'd have to do is maybe trade Cam Johnson from, obviously from the Nuggets. You'd have to trade Cam Johnson to the Hawks for Kuminga, and if I'm the Clippers, I'm doing that simply because that's a young guy that could be a cornerstone of your future going forward, but it probably won't be that much. And now for the center situation, which is the last thing that the Clippers really need to figure out, and it's mainly just backup center. There's a couple of options. It really just depends on who accepts player options and what teams want to keep their guys. So the first option I saw was you can sign DeAndre Ayton. He's a high risk, high reward player. That's the word I'm thinking of. The high risk, high reward player that you could get if he denies his player option off the Lakers. So that's an interesting concept. Or you could sign and trade Brook Lopez, who does have a team option, I believe. Or no, he has a team option. You could take his team option and sign and trade Lopez, or just deny it and sign and trade Lopez for Mo Wagner or Jacques Landale, or maybe Kevon Looney if you really wanted to. I don't think Kevon Looney would fit super well with this team, but there's options for center. It's basically just whoever wants to give up their center for cheap and wants a stretch five in Brook Lopez. So that would leave the Clippers lineup looking like this, and they have some flexibility because of the players that they have. So it could look something like Darius Garland at point guard, Benedict Mathurin at shooting guard, Cam Johnson or Jonathan Kuminga at small forward, Domas Sabonis or Jonathan Isaac or Jonathan Kuminga or Cam Johnson. That's a tongue twister right there at power forward, and then either Domas or Yannick Niederhauser. I think that's his name. I can't pronounce his name either. Niederhauser, Yannick at starting center. And then off the bench, you have a ton of options. You have Kobe Sanders, Chris Dunn, Bradley Beal, I think Leonard Miller, and then Derrick Jones Jr., and then whichever center, Ayton, Wagner, Looney, whoever you decide to sign. So that's your lineup. That's not a terrible lineup. That may be enough to get you into the play-in, possibly enough, depending on how well Domas comes back next season, because he was pretty bad this season. But put him in a role where he can actually succeed. Get him lob guys and stretch guys like Mathurin, like Garland. Garland and Domas can be another version of De'Aaron Fox and Domas, which actually work well. Benedict Mathurin's another stretch guy. Cam Johnson's kind of like Keegan Murray in that instance. So it's a very interesting team. I like how it looks on paper. I don't know how much success it'll have in the West especially, but I think it should be good enough to help them coast until they can get back into their picks, so they can actually start rebuilding. So this is the best way to like coast and keep going for now anyway. But let me know what you think. The Clippers were honestly a very fun one to figure out because they have some options, but also they're just like they're kind of forced to compete a little bit or forced to coast. So it gave me a lot of freedom to actually have my way with this team and just have fun with it. So I really like doing this one. Another reason why I wanted to do this one now. But let me know what y'all think. Let me know if you think that the Clippers should go down this route, or should they just accept the picks from the Warriors and just take and eat Jimmy Butler's contract. What do you think they should do? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, go check out the TikTok, go check out the Instagram, and until then, y'all, peace.